Hello, my beautiful patrons. How are you today? It's Tuesday, best day of the week. Today I received some new merchandise. Check it out. Teach peace. So true. Yeah, I ordered some new t-shirts so that I could rock the canguroenglish merchandise more frequently. Because, you know, I'm a brand now. So many cool things to talk to you about today. So the first thing is that I've been trying to make my videos look more visually attractive. You know, combining sort of good quality content with good visual appeal. And so recently I bought a one of these things. It's called an intervalometer. And what it does is you connect it to your camera and it takes pictures at intervals. So on here you set the interval. Like you can say, I want to take a picture every 10 seconds or 20 minutes, and you can set the exposure on the camera, and it's great for creating time-lapse video where time passes very quickly. And the effect is great. I can't believe that I didn't buy one before. This was like 10 euros. So anyway, this is what it looks like. I'm not afraid of technology. In fact, I love technology. I use technology every single day. This camera is technology. My phone is a technology. You know, Instagram, YouTube, it's all technology. So I am not a Luddite. So a Luddite is basically a person who is anti-technology. So back in the 1800s, in Nottingham, in England, you know, where Robin Hood is from Nottingham from Sherwood Forest in Nottingham. In Nottingham, the workers were against automated machinery. So you can imagine in the 1800s, they used to make clothes, textiles, they're called. Textiles is the world of material and fabric. They used to make textiles by hand. And then they introduced more machines to make textiles. And during this period in the 1800s, the locals in Nottingham would riot, like go crazy and destroy all of the machinery. And they called themselves Luddites. Now, the origin of this word is not certain, but it's probably from an imaginary story, an invented story about a guy called Mr. Ludd. And Mr. Ludd was, against automation. But he probably didn't exist. It's probably not true. So he's just a convenient name for this movement. So now, if you're watching this video on Facebook or on Patreon, then you're probably not a Luddite. Although maybe a little bit. Maybe you only use your telephone to make phone calls, but not for other things. And maybe you prefer to read the newspaper than read the news on your phone. Are you a Luddite? I don't know. Great word. Luddite. Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about was dogs. Because I was reading an article this morning about how dogs learn language. Because think about it, like there's a lot of owners, a lot of people who have dogs that say that the dogs understand them. And scientists, they wanted to know if it was true. So they actually trained dogs to sit perfectly still inside an MRI machine. Look, here's a picture. I don't know if you can see this. There we go. Look at that. There's a picture of a very, very good doggy. Why won't you focus? Damn it. There we go. There's a picture of a very, very good doggy in an MRI machine. And you'll see he has two toys. He has a soft toy and a hard toy. And that was a very important part of the experiment. Soft toy, hard and soft. Okay, so first they trained the dogs to to sit in the machine very still. And then they trained the dogs to recognize these two objects, a hard object and a soft object. They gave them names like, I don't know, ladybird and smiley face. And so they'd say, okay, ladybird, and the dog would get the ladybird. Okay, smiley face, and the dog would get the smiley face. So in theory, the dog knew the word, it learned the vocabulary for two things. Now here's the super interesting part, right? So they put the dog in the MRI machine. Now it's fMRI, if you're technically interested in the difference. So fMRI, we can look at the brain in real time. We can see what's happening in the brain when the dog is thinking, basically. So they went into the machine, and the owner went in and went, ladybird, and then the dog would think. And then it would go, what did I say? I can't remember. Smiley face, and the dog's brain would work. And then they would bring in something different and go, banana, and the dog would be like, huh? What the hell is that? Now, when a human, when they hear vocabulary that they know, their brain is very excited. Their brain's very excited. They're like, oh, I know that word, and then it goes in and it takes all the related words, and when I say this word, your brain is very excited because you know this word. And then if I tell you a word you don't know, like fle flu flu, your brain is like dead. Not dead, but you know, there's less activity because it's a new thing. There's no like connections in your brain. It's like it goes over your head, right? But a dog is the complete opposite. The complete opposite. When a dog heard the words that it knew, its brain was basically dead. It was like, yeah, I know that word, yeah. But then when you tell it a new word, like banana or flu flu flu, it was like, huh, what, huh, new word, what? And the scientists think that the reason this happened with the dog is because the dog wants to make the human happy. It's actually thinking, oh my God, what does that word mean? I need to know because maybe I have to do something. It's a good thing or a bad thing. Which is the opposite to a human. When a human hears a new word, they're like, I don't know the word. Pasa todo. So, now, I have something to say about this. I'm not just talking about dogs, okay? Now, what they discovered as well is that dogs' brains are much more responsive to visual stimulus. Okay, so for a human, the first type of communication, the most important type of communication is oral, is language, verbal. But for a dog, it's visual. So if you want to teach your dog a trick, it's faster to use a hand signal, like that's faster than telling the dog sit, because the dog's brain is like, sit, well, I have to learn the word and I don't do that, but I know the signal, right? Now, what it tells us is that each species, and not just that, but there was a difference between the different types of dogs. So Labradors were different to poodles, were different to pugs. And it tells us that basically everybody learns in a different way. Not a different way, but we all have a way to stimulate our interest. So for a dog, its interest is stimulated by wanting to make the human happy. But for us, our interest is stimulated by other things. So if you want to basically activate your brain to learn vocabulary and to learn language, then just remember the dogs. Figure out what it is. Try and discover that thing that makes you go, whoa, what? And that's how you will learn new stuff, new grammar structures, new vocabulary. That's why you have to be engaged. Do stuff that's fun. Do stuff that makes you want to learn, right? And so basically the dogs teach us that, the best way to learn is to be interested, is to be engaged. So thank you, doggies. Doggies in MRIs. Very, very good doggies. And it reminds me that, whenever I think about the science of learning, it reminds me that I'm definitely not a Luddite. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I will see you in class tomorrow. Bye.